Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So, we're talking about instructions in general. Or we have to start talking about instructions in general. Right. So, there are two things we are going to talk about in particular. One is RTN, that we call it register. Transfer. Notation. And another particularly we'll talk about assembly language notation. ALN. Assembly language notation. Language notation. So assembly language notation is something that is actually used for executing the program. Whereas RTN is basically for understanding. So let's see how we do that. So, yeah. Generally, LOC or place or A or where to. These are the terms used for defining memory locations. Whereas R0, R1, these actually represent registers. And there is something called IO register. So by IO registers are the locations by which you give output data to your input-output devices. So you take data and you send data through IO registers. So for that data in, generally written in caps, and out status. These kind of terms are used. And बगुना जी, शानदार अहमद जी को उनके लिए बनाई शानदार अहमद जी. So now let's see how it actually works. So for example, there is a memory location LOC whose contents you want to transfer to register R1. So this will be represented like this. So bracket is saying that the contents of memory location LOC. Or for example, you want to store the contents of, you want to actually take the contents of R1 and R2 and you want to store them at R3, then it will be looking like this, right? So this is just, these notations are just to understand what is going to happen in the real things. This is not actually something that is used. Whereas now we'll see assembly language notations that is actually used. Any confusion or any doubt about it? Any confusion or any doubt about it?
No, sir.
So could you repeat this point again, what you just said?
I am just saying that this is just to understand for human beings. This is not for actual use. So this is something that we use it like this. Right? Any confusion? Okay, let me discuss assembly language notation first, and then probably you will understand it better.
Sir, are you there?
Oh, sorry, I got muted. Yeah, I am there. So,
We can't hear your answer.
yeah, you can hear us? You hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, now.
So here, what is actually happening? We are actually moving the content of this location lock to register R1. So this is a kind of assembly instruction. You understand what is an assembly instruction? So assembly instruction is something. I hope you understand the hierarchy of assembler, compiler, interpreter, and all that. Do you understand that? Yes, or
Yes,
no?
sir.
So what is an assembler? Can you tell me? Can you tell me what is assembler?
Sir, actually, compiler works by converting the original language, like the programming language, into machine code, and the assembler checks that converts that machine direct intermediate assembly code to the exact machine code.
Intermediate machine code to exact machine.
Actually, the assembly code to the machine code.
Yeah. So assembly code is something that is a lower level language,
Yes.
and that lower level language is converted in string of ones and zeros. So that is.
Assembler.
So this move instruction, basically it's a misnomer move. It should be copy actually, but generally it is used as move only. So the move instruction is used for copying the data from location to register R1. So this is the way by which it is generally used. So suppose we have another kind of instruction, add R1, R2, and R3. So, there are two numbers in register R1 and R2 respectively. Those have to be added and their sum has to be placed in R3. So for that, this kind of instruction will be used. So, this is kind of assembly language notation. And this is actually used for writing assembly language. So this is just a basic understanding. Now let's see few issues into that. So suppose you have an instruction you have something like C is equal to A plus B to perform. You have used, I would have used this kind of thing in your simple computer programming. So for this, what all has to happen? If it has, if you'll see at the level of high level language, for example, C language actually, or C++, what will happen here? So there is some chat, I guess. What is that?
So first, the variable A would be accessed from the memory into the registers. Kya, sir?
Somebody is writing that there is a voice cut again and again. So is my voice breaking again and again?
No,
No,
sir.
sir, not to me.
Manish Kumar Saini. सर क्लास गूगल मीट पर हो सकती है क्या? जूम पर नहीं चल रहा है ठीक से, बार बार वॉइस कट हो जाती है.
सर अभी क्लियर आ रहा है लेकिन वाईफाई से बार बार डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाता है.
ओके, देखते हैं. नहीं तो जनरली जूम के लिए ऐसा माना जाता है कि वो कम बैंडविड्थ में चल जाता है, इसलिए हम लोग जूम यूज करते हैं. आदित्य शर्मा इज ऑल्सो सेइंग द सेम प्रॉब्लम. You are facing, you think that Google Meet is a better option to be used?
यस सर.
आज की क्लास में ऐसे ही कर लेते हैं, नहीं तो सबको उधर ट्रांसफर होने में दिक्कत होगी.
ओके.
अगर ज्यादा होगा तो आज की में भी ट्रांसफर कर सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर नहीं हो, काम चल जाए तो ठीक है, तो फिर हम लोग नेक्स्ट क्लास में इसको कर लेंगे. ठीक है?
ओके सर.
Okay, so for somebody was telling me कि C is equal to A plus B कैसे करेंगे? बताइए।
I was saying that first the variable A would be brought from memory into the registers.
नहीं, मैं बात कर रहा हूँ हाई लेवल लैंग्वेज की, जहां पर मेमोरी रजिस्टर सबके बारे में बात करते नहीं।
तो सर वेरिएबल A जो रहेगा उसको और B को उस पर ये ऑपरेशन परफॉर्म करेंगे और उसको C में असाइन कर देंगे।
और C के लिए फिर हमको एक मेमोरी लोकेशन लेनी पड़ेगी।
हाँ।
तो यानी यहाँ पर 3 मेमोरी लोकेशंस का इन्वॉल्वमेंट होगा, एक मेमोरी लोकेशन A का, एक मेमोरी लोकेशन B का और एक मेमोरी लोकेशन C का। ठीक है, तो अगर हम RTN में रजिस्टर ट्रांसफर नोटेशन में इसको लिखना चाहें तो हम कुछ इस तरह से लिख सकते हैं। ठीक है, इज इट ओके? Does it make sense? Is it okay?
So some students are complaining that they aren't able to join the meeting even though they have a stable connection.
But why this is happening so?
I don't know, sir.
क्योंकि अभी तो हमारा 700 भी हुआ नहीं है और ऐसे भी अभी ये गूगल ये जो जूम लाइसेंस्ड है इसके साथ 100 का लिमिटेशन भी नहीं है। दिस कैन गो अप टू 1000। तो if they are complaining for the same, they should share some screenshot that should be telling that this is happening and we couldn't.
Yeah, sir, he has shared with me. It says can't connect to our service. Please check your network connection and try again. And he says that his connection is stable.
Or her.
What, sir?
इसका मतलब ये है कि कुछ नेटवर्क की प्रॉब्लम है।
He is saying that his network is stable.
हाँ?
He is claiming from his part that his network is sound.
But unfortunately, I mean, your Zoom software is not actually convinced with this fellow. Who is this fellow?
His name is Ayok Paswan.
So, I mean, it's a lame excuse either, or there's a problem with network. I don't know what it is because 70 people have joined. So, I mean, how those 70 people joined? This cannot be considered. Sorry.
I have advised him to try again.
He should try it and he should try it on better network. But mostly it looks like either there is a problem of network or he is making some excuse. Because others are able to join. Fine. So this is the register transfer notation thing. जहां पर आपने ये इसके sorry, this will not be equal. For register transfer notation, what we put is actually arrow. अभी इसको असेंबली में लिखना होगा तो कैसे लिखेंगे? तो असेंबली में इसको लिखेंगे add a comma b sorry b comma c। तो यानी अगर हम असेंबली में लिखने जाते हैं तो असेंबली में हम कुछ इस तरह से लिखते हैं कि ऑपरेशन जैसे यहां ऑपरेशन ऐड है सोर्स 1 कॉमा सोर्स 2 कॉमा डेस्टिनेशन। तो हम कोई एक ऑपरेशन परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं उसे सोर्स 1 और सोर्स 2 और के डेटा पर कर रहे हैं और डेस्टिनेशन पर हम उसको स्टोर कर रहे हैं। सो दिस इज द वे बाय विच वी एक्चुअली राइट अवर असेंबली कोड, राइट? तो अगर इस तरह के इंस्ट्रक्शन की बात करने जाएंगे तो इसमें हमें एक तो सिंपल है कि you are taking data and you are performing certain operation and you are storing at some destination. Problem क्या है इसके साथ? What is the problem with this kind of instruction? Can somebody point out? Can somebody point out what is the problem with this kind of instruction?
In add ABC.
Add ABC or operation source 1, source 2 destination. What is the problem?
Sir, we carry out the operation in the accumulator.
No, all the operations will be carried out ultimately in the accumulator. That's right.
No, so we don't directly refer to the memory. We first load the memory, the data from that memory location into the accumulator.
Then?
Sir, then we add it to a different register where we load the
What is the problem with that? We can do that. What is the problem with that? There will be micro instructions that will be performing that. What is the problem in doing so? बताइए.
Sir, a problem with
Huh?
I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, you don't see a problem with it. But there is some problem. I mean, of course, these instructions will be executed. It's not that they will not execute, but there is some problem. So suppose you have a 32 bits of addressing. What do we mean by this? What do we mean by this?
One block in 32 bit. 32 bit will comprise of one block.
No, 32 bits of addressing means all the memory addresses are of 32 bits. So if this is a memory location, the number that will pointing out towards this will be of 32 bits. So for example, if your house number is 400, so you can say that your house number is actually 3-digit number. Similarly, if we have 32 bits addressing, we say that our memory location address is of 32 bits. And in case of 32 bits, how many locations can we point out? Can somebody tell me?
2 raised to 32 minus 1.
2 raised to the power 32 minus 1. And if I want to call it in GB or whatever, what will I call it? Hmm?
4 GB.
Yeah, so it is going to be 4 GB. And 4 GB is not a very high amount of memory, right? Considering we are having byte addressability. And if it is a word addressability and we have a word of 32 bit, it is going to be up to as high as 16 GB. So that is also not pretty high. So this 32 bit is not something that is actually not going to happen. I mean, it is pretty normal, and nowadays we should have these kind of bit addressing. So this instruction will be having 32 bits for this, 32 bits for this, and 32 bits for this. So that means how many bits in total? 96. Plus there will be some bits for this instruction as well, this part of instruction as well. Let's assume the lower side at least 8 bit. So we will be having 104 bits. That means 13 byte instruction. Right? So you have to store a 13 byte instruction in your memory. And then you have to transfer this 13 byte instruction to your processor register, instruction register, where you decode the instruction, and all that has to happen. So this is quite a, inefficient system because generally we don't have registers of this much size. You're getting my point, what I am trying to say? I am just trying to say that this kind of instruction, add A, B, C, will be needing there is a spelling mistake. Is actually big in size. So you need bigger registers are needed. This is the problem there is. Are you able to appreciate this?
Sir, if you could repeat the final part once more.
Huh?
If you could repeat the final part once again.
I am saying add ABC will be actually having 3 memory locations because this will be a source memory location. This will be a source memory location. This will be a source 1 memory location. This will be a source 2 memory location, and this will be a source 3 memory location. Destination memory location. S2 and S1. But all 3 are memory locations, and if all 3 are memory locations, and let's say 32 bits of address is being used for pointing out towards a memory location, that means 32 bits of addressing is there. So, 4 bytes will be used for writing this, 4 bytes will be used for writing this, and 4 bytes will be used for writing this. And at least 1 byte will be used for writing this. So, even if it is 1 byte, generally it will be 2 byte or so. So you will be needing 14 bytes so the instruction size is 14 bytes. If you remember how an instruction is processed, so you will be able to figure out that you bring instruction from memory to instruction register, where instruction register actually decodes the instruction and then micro instructions are performed. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
So this is going to be little difficult in this. Are you able to understand this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So add ABC, or for that matter, any 3, because we can call it a 3 address instruction. Has a problem with its size. So now can you tell me what can be done to solve this problem?
So couldn't we do this thing like add A and B and store the result in A only or B only instead of creating a third?
Add A and B. Okay, yeah, that can be done. So what you are saying is something like this. You are saying in place of add ABC, we should write add A, B. A should be considered as source and B should be considered as destination. Is it what you are saying?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is definitely one way of doing things. So
but this
now
loses the value of one of the variables, so it's not feasible. It loses the value of one of the variables, so in a complete program, this wouldn't work.
No, there are 2 things. One thing is you don't need that variable at all. That is possible. And one thing you need that variable. If you don't need that variable at all, you can definitely use this add AB. While you're writing this, it is not guaranteed or it is not sure that all the times you need to hold the values of A and B. So if you don't need to hold the values of A and B, this works fine. And if it is actually required to hold the values of A and B, let's do it this way.
But sir, in the most of the times we require, even if we require to store the one variable, store the variables, it would be only one variable. Like suppose we need a counter, so we need to store only one variable. The other is not required to us.
Hold on. His question is pretty right and genuine. So you may be needing both the variables to store, to hold.
Yeah, sir,
So-
I agree, but I'm saying that in most of the times, even if we need to store a variable, it would be only one variable. That is what I'm saying. It could be a case that we need both the variables. Not saying that.
So this may be then the way to do so. So move BC and then add AC. Right? So what we are doing here, we are moving the contents of B to the contents of to memory location C by overwriting C, and then we are adding the contents of A to the contents of C by overwriting the contents of C. Right?
Sir, in add operation, if there is something in destination before before the operation, that will be added, and then the final value will be saved.
No, final value will be stored.
Okay.
If we are using two address instruction. In three address, we have a third address where it will be stored. You're getting my point? Is it okay? Is
Yes,
it
sir.
okay
Yes, sir.
for everybody? Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, there is one point that is actually should be taken into account. So here, in this source operand is specified first. So you are specifying source first and destination later, right? And you are, whenever you are performing this operation, destination is actually being overwritten. So this is something that is being followed in many computers, but this is not a universal thing. So there are possibilities where, depending on the system, this may be considered as destination and this may be considered as source. And this, in that case, this may be overwritten by the result. So that depends on the microprocessor or the computer that you are using. So, but we are doing with this kind of system only. So this is a notation or assumption we are taking that the system we have will be following this kind of instruction. But still this guy has actually two address instructions. So that means, and even now you are having 4 plus 4 plus 2. That is 10 bytes. How 10 bytes? So 4 for this guy, and 4 for this guy, and as I'm assuming 2 for this guy. So still I have 10 bytes to spend over my instruction size. And that is also, bit bigger. So then what else can be done? Can we further reduce it? Can we further reduce it? Hello.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah, so can we further reduce it? Are you able to see the screen or screen is gone?
Sir, we are able to see the screen.
But I am not able to see that. Yeah, now I'm able to see that. Yeah, so can we further reduce it? Can somebody give me an idea how this can be further reduced? No idea? So why you are, yeah. Somebody saying something?
Sir, no, I just responded with no. We don't know.
So why you are consuming two addresses here? Because one A and one B, it is being used as source and it is being used as destination. So there are actually two variables. If you'll go to your, C programming thing. So A plus B are the two variables, and that's why you need two memory locations. But what if one of the memory locations may be replaced by register or maybe accumulator? So if I can replace one of the memory locations by accumulator, so for example, I am doing it like this, add B. What will happen in this case?
Sir, value at B will remain same.
Value at B
Will not change.
Yeah. So there will be some content at accumulator and there will be some content at memory location B. The value of memory location will be added to accumulator and it will be stored in accumulator. Right? So, but now this is not sufficing our function of C A plus B. So if I have to complete this thing, how will I do that? So I'll first transfer the contents of register A
To the accumulator.
to the accumulator.
But sir, the value that is in A or would be in accumulator, it would take the same space, right?
How come?
Because suppose it's some value, suppose it's 32, it would say take the same number of bits.
Yeah, I mean that you cannot. Now your instruction size has been reduced. So I mean there is.
But we also need to take into account this instruction, right? Stored in accumulator. This.
Pardon?
We would be doing two instructions here, right? First would be to
three actually, but in those three instructions, none of actually is creating a problem as far as my instruction register size is concerned. So it is right that I am executing more instructions. I am using more instructions than before. Add ABC could have been a smaller instruction. So let me understand. If you want to, let's say, add 10 numbers, if you write, you have to write a program in C for 10 numbers. Would you okay in writing like this, that S is equal to A1 plus A2 plus A3? Will you be writing it like this? Will you be writing it like this or not?
No, sir.
No, sir.
It's just happening in one instruction.
What, sir? What is the question?
You can do it and this will be executed, right? It's not that it will not give you the sum of 10 numbers. Will it give or not?
Yeah, it would give.
Then why will not you write it?
It's not good to read or presentable. We can do it in alternate ways. Also, it
Yeah,
would
so
take more
it is
space.
flimsy, that is one thing. And as far as the C programming is concerned, this will be consuming more memory.
Yeah.
Similarly, not same, but similarly, for the similar reasons, performing add A, comma B, comma C will be actually cumbersome for instruction register to store, for the accumulators to handle. So that's why we are trying to reduce the size of instruction, individual instruction. Overall size may not vary or may not change much, but actually the individual instructions are getting reduced. Size of individual instructions are getting reduced. So if you are to perform this operation using single address instruction, how will I do that? So first of all, I load A, and then I'll add the contents of B to the accumulator, that is the contents of register A, and then the final result I will store at C. So what I am doing in this instruction, the content of memory address A is being transferred to accumulator. Here, the contents of B is being added with the contents of accumulator. That is what we just transferred is the contents of memory location A. So by doing this, we are actually adding the contents of memory location A and memory location B without changing any of them. And the result is being stored at C. So you can see that we have used 3-byte instructions. Three instructions, and all three are one address instructions. So this is actually the way by which we can reduce the size of instruction. Can we go even below this? Not for all instructions, but for few instructions, can we go below this? That means less than one address instruction.
But sir, if we add the number of bytes for all three instructions, isn't it like the same? Because for
yeah, I'm saying that will be same, but individual instructions are big or small.
Okay.
And when you have to handle an instruction, you are, transferring one instruction or more instructions together.
One.
So in that case, the problem was actually this. Memory's size consumption is probably not the bigger problem. The bigger problem is, your instruction register or accumulators who have to handle the larger instruction size. Here, that problem is somehow tackled. Is it not? Is it not?
yes, sir, it is.
Are you able to understand this or not?
Yes, sir. Sir, you're muted.